What actually controversial opinion do you have? Serious. The advances of modern medicine are introducing too many bad genes into the human genetic pool and exposing the human race to a weakened genetic makeup. Copied from a response below to clarify, Tivione seems to be looking at this the wrong way. This is not about resistant bacteria or antibiotic abuse. It is about diseases like asthma type 1 diabetes, Treacher-Collins syndrome, and various others that are spread via genes. I speak with knowledge on this subject because I am asthmatic, my wife is type 1, and I have a cousin with Treacher-Collins, and I have seen my cousin's children come out far more deformed than himself. I see diabetes type 1 spreading through my wife's family with nearly every offspring. Because of these issues, we have decided to not have children, but any offspring created from people like this live with a severely diminished quality of life. People with these diseases survive thanks to modern medicine, but in doing so, create offspring with these traits either existing or recessive in their offspring. Edited for clarity. I believe that some people are simply not meant to be great, or even successful. Not that those who aren't are wasting their potential, but they simply don't have what it takes, either the intelligence, the charisma, or the willpower. Some people are simply meant to be working the checkout line, and that's okay. That's pretty controversial in a society that believes everyone can do anything they set their mind to.
Hey guys, much like you, I love reading people's stories on Ask Reddit. Unfortunately, there's a lot of weird middle school level, just thought experiment type hypotheticals like nice try Baskin Robbins. I don't find this compelling, so that's why I've made it my mission to trawl and crawl through Ask Reddit and find the very best content and put it in your ears. That's why I'm begging you, like and subscribe. If there's anything I can do to help you out, give you the kind of content that you crave to help you get through your workday, let me know in a comment. But please like and subscribe.
Karma shouldn't exist on Reddit. As in, we should still be able to vote on individual posts and comments. But the amount of upvotes that a user has should not be attached to their username. I have autism. Can't communicate verbally, but text is okay. I have made my family's lives worse, and they would have been better off had I never been born. I've overheard my parents saying that I'm their prison sentence, and I haven't spoken to my sister or brother in years, even though I see them all the time. They don't look my way, and I pretend that my fear of eye contact is the reason I don't look back. You know, the shitty thing about autism is that I'm aware of everything that's going on, and I see how things work, for the most part, but I just can't communicate. It's like my body language and verbal skills are paralyzed, but I can express myself so damn clearly when I write my thoughts down. Yes, someone is home. I just can't come out to play. I'm totally dependent on my parents because I can't do things like buy groceries or get haircuts by myself, no matter how hard I try. I've written it all out in steps: walk into store, find items, put items on counter, pay the cashier, grab the bags, exit the store. But then as soon as I walk into the store, it's like a crazy acid trip of sparkling beings and strange lights. I don't know how to describe it, but I feel completely out of place. Anyways, of course, it's too late to kill myself now, as a young adult. That would devastate my family, and the savings of not having to deal with me as an idiot-dependent adult just wouldn't be worth it. So I'm just biding my time, living for them and trying not to be too much of a burden. I'm not depressed, but I feel like I'm overstaying my welcome here. I don't contribute to anything, and I know that people don't want anything to do with me. I wouldn't either, so I just look down at my hands and wonder why the rest of me can't be so normal. I don't view the extremely handicapped to be people. I went to high school with a kid who couldn't do anything for himself, including breath. He just laid in his chair staring off into space. He was not capable of moving other than occasionally twitching and making the scariest shrieking noise you have ever heard, and he did not respond to people trying to interact with him. He required 247 care and never has any chance of living a normal life since he relies 100 on others to do everything for him, including breath. To me, that is not a person, that is just something that happens to have a heartbeat. People keep bringing up Stephen Hawking. He suffers from ALS, which is a progressive disorder. I mean people who have been in a vegetative or almost vegetative state since birth. People keep asking why a person like the one I described would be in school. According to the Individuals with Disability Education Act idea, all disabled students have the right to a public education and cannot be rejected due to their disability. The courts have ruled that even if the student is completely incapable of benefiting from educational services and all efforts are futile, even if the child is unconscious or in a coma, school is still required to provide educational services to the child. In cases like this, the school is acting less as an educator and more as a sitter during school hours. Some kids need to be left the fuck behind. If you aren't able to meet the standards for a certain grade level, you shouldn't get to move to the next because it would hurt your feelings if not. These kids are seriously dumbing down our schools. Instead of teaching to the lowest denominator, we need to teach to the highest and actually challenge children to learn. Not all cultures are equal. Certain behaviors should not be tolerated because it is their culture. If your culture treats one gender as a second-class citizen, condones rape of married women who refuse sex with their husbands, stones women to death for infidelity, treats homosexuality as a crime or illness, etc., then you do not deserve equal treatment. You are scum. Your behavior and your culture is immoral and disgusting. You do not get a free pass on tolerance and acceptance, because you are not my equal. I'm not going to blow you up or shoot you, though. We shouldn't be sending everyone to college. Not everyone is cut out for it, not everyone is smart enough, and not having a mother and a father who are married actually matters and is the best scenario for children. Wow, never have I seen a post get so many "this isn't even controversial" comments and so many "I completely disagree" comments at the same time. For those who don't find these clarifications obvious, father a man, mother a woman, marriage actually married, not partners. Engaged, living together, etc. Also, I truly am sorry if this comment makes anyone feel bad about the circumstances in which they grew up or are growing up. Obviously, I'm not saying that every married couple makes a better set of parents than others, e.g., single parents. It goes without saying that there are millions of amazing parents raising kids in all sorts of family situations that aren't the nuclear family, and I think the work they do is awesome. Likewise, obviously a sniggle excellent parent can be better than two bad parents, and sometimes divorce is the right answer for a family. None of that changes my opinion, though, that all else being equal, the nuclear family is the best option for kids. I simply don't buy into statements like it doesn't matter whether parents get married so long as they're good parents, and it doesn't matter if kids have a mom so long as they have one loving parent. Those things do matter. Teen suicide is big where I live. If you commit suicide and you were a dick before, I mean like lots of bullying and just being a rotten person, you shouldn't be considered a beautiful person and an angel. You're rude, and suddenly all your wrongdoings are gone. Being dead doesn't change who you were. Also, tagging someone on Facebook or writing in their wall when they have passed is just asking for attention, and no one in the family wants to see it. When I say writing on Facebook, I meant people they didn't know personally. When someone says "I didn't know you," but that's what I mean for attention. For families and friends, it is a great coping mechanism and makes you feel connected. I get that. Just not that "I don't know you but suddenly we're best friends" thing. I guess is what I'm trying to say is people make mistakes, and when they pass they shouldn't be held against them, but also not forgotten.
I turned 36 this year, and I decided to focus on my physical fitness, so I bought a swim club membership. The only problem was, most of the time when I go swimming, I wind up getting an ear infection. So it turns out that normal earplugs, they kind of irritate your ear canal, they don't really work, they don't keep the water out, but there is an amazing kind of earplug called Mack Pillow Soft Silicone earplugs that, they feel great, they keep the water out 100%, they're reusable, and they don't irritate your ear canal at all. No issues. If you've ever had a severe ear infection, you don't want to experience that again. It can permanently damage your hearing if you're unlucky. So investing in these earplugs is definitely a good idea. Also, when my baby was crying later this year and I could not get to sleep, I used the same earplugs and they worked great. I was able to sleep right next to a crying baby. So be sure to click my affiliate link and purchase some of these Mack's earplugs today.
Most people on Reddit who comment about the economy don't know what the hell they are talking about, and probably buy into something they saw or heard in the media, or worse, on Reddit itself. The hive mind can be really fucking dumb about economics and us government policy. I think black Americans need to stop complaining about slavery like it was personal. It happened, it sucked, get over it. Every other race has both owned and been slaves at some point in time. In the same time period, Asian and Irish semi-slaves toiled in mines and railways, and to this day not a cent in reparations has been made. There are no memorials to these people who helped build an empire. History books barely mention them, because the children of those who suffered didn't try to use the pain their parents and grandparents went through as a bargaining chip. I am tattooed all over, and I think tattoo acceptance is a crock of shit. You aren't being denied jobs because of your tattoos. You are being denied jobs because you are a self-important, egotistical douchebag. Having fuck hard tattooed across your fingers doesn't help any, but your bullshit elitist attitude is what sank your boat before the interviewer even saw your fingers. Your visible markers of piss poor decision-making skills only seal the deal that your crappy job history started. No, I wouldn't hire someone whose only job experience has been Walmart greeter and McDonald fryer operator as a senior project manager or head systems analyst, and why the fuck should I? And yet some asset with a full sleeve of naked girls getting fisted in the asshole thinks he is being discriminated against because he is being considered for the senior positions he constantly applies for. My tattoo artist always says to people there will be a day, no matter what, that you will want to look respectable, which is true, but your crappy, spoiled brat attitude shits the bed way before someone even sees your tattoos. Misspelled greeter. Idiotic mistake on my part, as pointed out, and other misspelling. I generally support polygamy. The way I see it is, there are so many men that have children by multiple women and don't support them. What's so wrong with a man who wants to support multiple families? If they're all in the situation voluntarily, what business is it of mine? Obviously this excludes child brides, brides who are forced sold into marriage, etc. I think that people with mental illnesses shouldn't be allowed to procreate. I think that people with mental illnesses can and do lead amazing lives and can make great parents. I just don't think they should pass on their genes so that their kids have to live through the same horrors they did. I honestly thank everyone who has commented and really opened my view on how I see this issue. Look, what I think boils down to this: people with mental disorders aren't necessarily gonna have a bad life, and there are many factors that feed into them having the illness in the first place. I think if a parent has a high chance of passing down their illness to their kid, they seriously need to consider the consequences before they do. I'm not advocating for some government mandate or even think people with mental illnesses are wrong in some way. I just think parents need to think through the consequences of their actions before they create life. Through all of your comments, I understand this is a complicated issue. Just like anything else, it isn't black and white, and I don't think there is a right or wrong answer necessarily. Things like this should be taken case by case and not be taken lightly. Again, thank you all for helping me open up my views, and continue to keep commenting, because this is a tough issue that can't be boiled down to a sentence or a simple idea. Fuck, like with any issue, I believe there are multiple rights here as well as multiple wrongs. Let me start out by saying I was wrong, way wrong in my original comment. It was ignorant, hateful, and just plain stupid. Mental illness disease whatever is a tough issue. It's one that isn't handled well in our modern world and certainly isn't well known about. especially in people like me that haven't really been exposed to it. It is a huge term used to refer to a myriad of different disorders of varying intensity, so to lump them all into a group is wrong. I believe that the disorders aren't wrong to have, they are just a part of life. Someone with one can live an amazing life and be a great parent. Just because they struggle with it doesn't mean they are a bad person whatsoever. We all have our own personal struggles and that is theirs. However, I believe there are some disorders that ruin lives. Some disorders cause people so much pain and misery and grief throughout their life. Like many people with those disorders have said, why would they want to pass that grief and suffering down? But, again, here is another problem. Disorders of this nature aren't solely based in genetics, and while genetics plays a part, there are many other factors that play into getting one. As I said before, I think any government mandate or law banning procreation is wrong. I am not for any type of eugenics as that takes away our free will, as a brilliant Redditor posted. Many people have a disorder and believe they are better because of it, and some people have a disorder and would never wish that on anyone. There are risks when you have a genetic mental disorder of passing it down, so knowing those risks and really thinking about what you think is best is the thing I am advocating. I know this is no longer a real controversial opinion, but Reddit, you changed my mind about it. And I thank each and every person that commented for that change. I think all marriages as they are now should be changed to be civil unions. Then, if you want to be married, you can find a church or other entity that will marry you, but in the eyes of the government the only thing that would matter are the civil unions which are open to anyone. Keep marriage and the government separate. Bam. Marriage debate over. For those saying this isn't controversial, see the comment below where I'm so eloquently called a bigoted gargle shit. Exactly. In an ideal world there would be no abortions, but not because of some law, rather because birth control is understood and freely available and all pregnancies are planned. Unrealistic, I know, but some people on the pro-life side seem to think that people seek abortions as a method of birth control. No one wants to have to get an abortion. That's just ridiculous. As a veteran, I agree with you. I've seen plenty of soldiers, Marines, sailors, and airmen who are absolute scumbags. I've also seen plenty of perfectly decent people in uniform, and I've seen a few people who blew my mind with how selfless and good they were. I'm uncomfortable when people fawn over me, and I was the same way when I was on active duty. I sat at a desk for 5 years, never deployed, and don't agree with any hostilities we've engaged in as a country in decades. I wore a uniform and had a decently paying job for that long because I wanted to get my college education for free. I am no hero, nor are 99% of people in the military. I work with severely disabled individuals, and I have to say, though I don't agree with them not being human, that these people were not meant to survive. They have families who care about them, but their lives become dedicated to keeping a probably miserable lump alive. It's a huge waste of resources, though it does keep me employed. I've grown to care about every single person I've taken care of, but there is no quality of life there. There's nothing. I think people in other countries only bitch about us because they don't live here. Cherry-pick issues all they want. You don't see us citizens complain about us half as much as people from foreign countries. P.S. Before you comment with something like blah blah American ignorance blah blah, just know that I've heard it all before. I'm no longer going to debate with people. If you want to get your 2 cents in, please pick someone who has already commented to start a debate with.
Hey guys, do you ever have a problem getting to sleep at night? Well, I've got the magic pill to cure your insomnia. Much like you, I used to twist and turn all night. But then I discovered that you can take melatonin and Valerian Root together to get a good night's sleep every single night. I've been taking it every night by for years and years. I've been taking Valerian and melatonin, and this is my life hack to get a good night's sleep and vivid dreams every night. So be sure to click my affiliate links, and I will give you the gift of a good night's sleep.
Being gay doesn't mean you have to be a gay stereotype. Be who you want to be. Pretty much all my gay friends hate the gay image and culture, and most of them are in very stable relationships because they are true to themselves and act how they want. Maybe I should have specified that being yourself can also be embracing gay culture. Just because the majority of my gay friends hate it doesn't make them right. I love gay culture. One of the best nights I've ever had was at a gay hamburger joint in Hollywood. If you're sensible, be sensible. If you're fabulous, be fabulous. I firmly believe in the death penalty. Not only that, but I believe it should be an expedited process. If you brutally murder someone, or rape a bunch of kids, or whatever, and you're given the death penalty, then you should have one appeal, and one appeal only. People convicted with an overwhelming amount of evidence. John Wayne Gacy shouldn't even be given that. Edit. To those who disagree with my opinion, I respect your opinion and understand your arguments. Do I think our justice system is perfect? No. Are there innocent people on death row? Yes. It's a tragedy. That, however, does not change my opinion. Most people on death row are not first-time offenders. They are hardened criminals with a history of violent behavior. I don't believe they should be tortured or maimed or forced to work in horrific conditions. I simply believe that they should be executed in the most humane way possible. Just because a person inflicted great pain on someone else doesn't mean that they should be subjected to the same amount of pain. I was bullied pretty horribly by this girl pre-high school. She died in a car accident several years after I lost contact with her. My friend and some other people were talking about it. When I found out who they were talking about, I said, "Oh," and continued to stay out of the conversation. Someone commented on my lack of reaction and I shrugged and said she wasn't very nice to me, and it was like I'd blown up a puppy. It's not that I didn't care that she died. I simply had nothing to add to the conversation, which was all about how wonderful and angelic and perfect and giving she was. She's dead, so I don't think she cares what I think about her. If homosexuality is something you're born with, and I suspect it is, then punishing people for being homosexuals is immoral and unethical. This also applies to pedophilia. That doesn't mean that having sex with children should be legalist, but that the utter hatred that is displayed towards pedophiles is misplaced. I'm a heterosexual male, and I'm quite capable of foregoing sex for masturbation, and I feel no need or desire to rape anyone. I don't see why this would be any different in pedophiles. Yes, some of them do rape children. Some heterosexual males rape women, but that doesn't mean we go around castrating or lynching people just for being heterosexual males. When you then look at what the legalization of pornography did to the frequency of rape, I find it to be an easy conclusion to legalize child pornography that doesn't involve real children, as in drawn or animated pornography. It's not for me, and I find the idea quite horrific, but since no actual harm comes of it, I don't see why it should be illegal. I think is an American mentality. Everyone will succeed if they try. The truth is, only a few will succeed. There are a bunch of factors to take into account. The probability of a child who lives in poverty and attends a school that underperformed will grow up to be an astronaut is highly unlikely. I think the reason why America has that mentality because this is a country known to be the land of opportunity.
I turned 36 this year, and I decided to focus on my physical fitness, so I bought a swim club membership. The only problem was, most of the time when I go swimming, I wind up getting an ear infection. So it turns out that normal earplugs, they kind of irritate your ear canal, they don't really work, they don't keep the water out, but there is an amazing kind of earplug called Mack Pillar Soft Silicone earplugs that, they feel great, they keep the water out 100%, they're reusable, and they don't irritate your ear canal at all, no issues. If you've ever had a severe ear infection, you don't want to experience that again. It can permanently damage your hearing if you're unlucky. So investing in these earplugs is definitely a good idea. Also, when my baby was crying later this year and I could not get to sleep, I used the same earplugs and they worked great. I was able to sleep right next to a crying baby. So be sure to click my affiliate link and purchase some of these Mack's earplugs today.